So May the 21st is the date of Honor's next big flagship smartphone launch, where we'll finally see the curtain pulled back on the sexy new Honor 20 handset. And that'll be roughly 5 months after we first got to grips with this bad boy here, the Honor View 20. The excellent View 20 was a great start to 2019 for Honor, offering a premium mobile experience for 500 quid, which meant it was very stiff competition for the likes of the freshly launched OnePlus 6T. Fast forward a few months and we've had rival phones from the likes of Oppo and Xiaomi launching here in the UK for the similar sort of price, while the V20 has actually dropped in price 50 quid to £450. I've had a lot of people asking me if it's still hot stuff right now, still good value for money, and well, here's my full re-review a few months on. And don't forget, for more on the latest and greatest mobile tech, to subscribe and ding that notifications bell. Cheers! While the initial wow factor of the View 20's bezel-free design may have worn off a bit by now, I still love that punch hole design work, seen on only a handful of handsets so far in 2019. Of course, those aesthetics are best shown off with a light-coloured backdrop, so you can truly appreciate how that display stretches to the very edges of the phone. Or if you prefer, you can of course grab plenty of wallpapers that mask that camera hole. Flip the phone around and the back of the View 20 doesn't seem quite as thrilling compared with the gorgeous hues of the Huawei P30, although that V-pattern effect is definitely still a nice touch. That is when it's not obscured by grubby, horrible fingerprints. Clean and cloth definitely at the ready. After a few months, most smartphones do start to show a few signs of wear and tear, and the Honor View 20 sadly is no different. There on the backside you'll spy one big scratch and a fair few wee nicks as well, so you'll definitely need to be careful, or maybe just slap on the bundled transparent cover if you're a bit of a fumbler. Thankfully, Honor was at least kind enough to pre-install a screen protector on this bad boy, so far that display is still in good condition. Top stuff. One of the major criticisms levelled at the Honor View 20 at its launch was the lack of an AMOLED screen, but I've still got very little beef with that 6.4-inch IPS panel. Keep it on the default vivid mode and you'll get punchy, rich colours that can rival many OLED displays, although yes, those blacks aren't quite as deep once you boost up the brightness, and of course there is no HDR support. Still, that proper full screen finish, barring the tiny punch hole of course, makes for some very enjoyable video playback. As for the audio, I can't really fault that single mono speaker housed down on the bottom edge, which pumps out some reasonably powerful sound, and thankfully the View 20 does sport a 3.5mm headphone jack, which is an absolute godsend when my Bluetooth headphones decide to give up the ghost. On the software front, Honor's Magic UI, which is basically just a motion UI by a different name, is still very enjoyable. For a start, that one-handed mode is a bloody godsend given the size of this thing, while the gesture navigation is quick and intuitive. And as always, the facial recognition is fast and dependable, working well even in pretty low light, although you will need to whip those shades off to avoid any confusion. I actually like how the View 20 sports a physical fingerprint sensor around back too, rather than one of those in-display efforts. Huawei's recent optical scanners have been pretty bloody decent to be fair, but they do fail more often than hardware sensors. Here it is very rare to get a bad read. After a few months, practically no bugs or weird software quirks have reared their ugly heads here on the Honor View 20. The Magic UI is definitely living up to its name. It's magic, innit? And don't forget, for a full tour of the best features of Magic UI, go check out my in-depth guide right here on TechSpert. As far as the performance goes, the View 20 is right up there with the fresh new Huawei P30 phones. You get the same Kirin 980 chipset propped up by at least 6 gigs of RAM for everyday smoothness. Apps load super quick, usually right where you left off, and of course games like PubG are handled expertly, helped along by that ever-expanding GPU turbo feature which keeps the frame rate consistently high. Good news if you're addicted to those mobile blasters, because the View 20's battery life hasn't degraded at all. That 4000 mAh cell gives you hours and hours of playtime from a full charge, while with standard everyday use, the V20 can usually survive well into a second day. Huawei's 22.5 watt SuperCharge tech means you get a good few hours of use from just 15 minutes at a plug, and while wireless charging support would have been nice, I definitely haven't really missed it, to be honest. Now, while Huawei has been busy slapping as many camera lenses as possible on its new handsets, the Honor View 20 is content with just the two, a 48 megapixel primary shooter backed by a time-of-flight lens for depth perception. After coming from the P30 handsets, I definitely do miss that flexibility offered by those wide-angle and telephoto lenses. This camera experience seems a little barren without them somehow. All the same, the V20 definitely grabs great looking everyday snaps, while the portrait mode is as wonderful as ever. Nice blurry backgrounds help your subject to really shine, with crisp edge detection that is almost infallible. And it's definitely great to have fast access to that master AI toggle right there on the camera UI as well. I usually leave it on because it does do a very good job of helping to bring your photos to life and choosing the right modes at the right times. But if I'm shooting a naturally vibrant subject, I like to just knock it off and let those naturally rich tones really speak for themselves. Some of the camera features initially bigged up by Honor were missing in action when the View 20 first launched, but they are finally emerging now, such as the ability to identify foodstuffs and give a calorie estimate. Unfortunately, this feature is about as accurate as a blind darts player with no arms. Apparently, chocolate muffins have almost the same calorie count as chopped tomatoes, while most items that we try out simply aren't recognised. However, one recent update has improved the night mode feature, which was already pretty solid to begin with. Unfortunately, at launch, the View 20 would occasionally oversaturate those brighter elements when shooting a long exposure shot at night. But this has been sorted right out now. You get a much more balanced photo on par with the likes of the P30. And if you want a proper full-on look at the Honor View 20's camera tech, go check out my in-depth camera review over on Recombu. So this close to the launch of Honor's next big thing, would I still recommend the View 20? Well, that is actually a bloody tough one. I absolutely adore the Huawei P30 with its super flexible camera tech and that more compact finish, but it is a couple £100 more expensive, which is very hard to justify. And with the Honor 20 and the OnePlus 7 literally just around the corner, it does seem a little bit off as far as the timing is concerned. There's going to be some strong launches here in the UK around that sort of £400 to £500 price bracket, so I'd say if you can, hold your horses. What about you? Are you tempted to jump on the View 20 bandwagon? Definitely let us know in the comments down below. If not, why not? And don't forget to subscribe and ding that notifications bell for more on the latest and greatest mobile tech. Cheers everyone, love you!